Hi, I thought I would do a video for you guys on GOSTM since a lot of people were asking about it, and I thought I would do a video to help explain to you what is it that I'm looking for. So GOSTM stands for goals, objectives, strategies, tactics, and measures. Now, the idea here is that you would have a general overarching goal. Your goal is tend to be something lofty, something general. So let's say your goal is to successfully enter into a market. Objectives, on the other hand, have to be very specific. A lot of times when I'm talking to small businesses, I will say to them, what's your objective here for this marketing campaign? And they'll tell me things like, well, I want to be successful. And so I will ask them, what does that look like? How will you know if you're successful? So your objectives have to be what we call SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, or time based. So what that means is, for example, let's say I want to enter into a market. What is my objective going to be? 15% of market share within a 6-month period, because I have to know how many people I want to reach or how much market share I want to attain. And then I don't just want to say how many people I want to reach or how much market share, because what if I say I want 15 market share? Well, you want 15% market share within a month, within 6 months, within 6 years, within 60 years. How will you know if you have obtained this objective? When is a good time to base it on? So you have to say, I want a 15% market share, as an example, within 6 months of market entry, within a year of market entry. And so that way, when we go back, we know, okay, yes, we achieved this. We had, 18% market share within 5 months. So we met our mark. Good. Then think of strategies as our next point, as your working plan. Think of it as your roadmap to get to a particular point, because there's so many strategies that you can employ to achieve any one objective. So let's say my strategy is going to be an online strategy or a social media strategy, or maybe I want to do a mass media strategy where I employ media like print and radio and TV. So for the example, I'm going to say that I want to do a social media strategy. Well, what would that look like specifically? Well, that's where our tactics come in. So tactics are action-oriented things that are specific, that we engage in order to achieve our objectives via our particular strategy. So let's say, for example, that we want to be successful. That's our goal. We want to achieve 15% of market share within 6 months. That's our objective. We're going to have a social media strategy to do that. And then what are the specific things that we want to do? Let's say our brand is a makeup brand. And so we're going into this new market. And what are the things that we're going to do in our social media strategy? Well, maybe we may do a competition. We might do this competition on Facebook or YouTube, where we ask people to post videos of themselves doing a smoky eye. And the best instructional video wins, I don't know, a year's supply of our makeup products. That's an example of one tactic that we're going to do. We're going to do a competition involving our products. And that's going to be part of the social media strategy, which is going to help us achieve 15% market share. Well, what might be another tactic that we engage in? Maybe we start this campaign of, before and after. And we ask people to post before and after videos. And every day we're going to pick a before and after video that or shot that we're going to feature on our site. That's another tactic. Okay, good. So we have goal to be successful. Objective is to have 15% market share within 6 months. Strategy, social media. One of the tactics that we're going to do is to have a competition. The other one is going to be to post before and after pics. So our last of the acronym GOSTM is measurement. And for measurement, we have to measure every single tactic. So I mentioned 2 tactics, which means we have to measure 2 different tactics. How are we going to do that? Well, in our measurement, we have to think of 5 things. Always remember that. 5 things. What's the 5 things? First of all, what are we measuring? Second, how are we going to measure it? Third, when are we going to measure it? Fourth, what's our benchmark? And fifth, what's an alternative if it doesn't work? So let's start off with what and how. So what we are measuring the success of this particular campaign. We are measuring the excitement and the engagement that our customers are showing towards our products. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to do that by measuring likes, thumbs up, shares, reposts, how many people look at the video, so unique views, etc., etc. That is the what and the how. We are measuring engagement. That's what we're measuring. How are we going to measure it? We're going to measure it via posts, reshares, likes, etc., etc. So we have to be very specific on that. Then the when. When are we going to take this measure? Are we going to do it at the end of every day? Are we going to do it at the end of every week? Are we going to do it at the end of every month? The second to last piece that we have to think about is what is our benchmark. So your benchmark is very important, because how are you going to know how to judge these likes and reposts? You need something to judge it against. And so you look at something that your competition is doing, or maybe not a direct competitor, but someone in your category. So maybe a skincare brand, if you're a makeup brand, that did something like this, and they got on average, and a brand your size. So maybe they got on average 50 reposts every week, and maybe they had, 1,000 likes. So then you're going to look around at a multiplicity of examples and brands and come up with a benchmark that you think is reasonable. And so now you know that you have a benchmark that you're going to measure against. And so you have to decide, if I get to my 2-week period, and you said you're going to measure it every 2 weeks, and my benchmark was 50 shares or 100 shares, and I'm at 25. This thing ain't working. So you're going to need to now readjust your strategy, or maybe engage in a new tactic. And that's why we want to have that alternative action, because far too often when I speak to companies and I say to them, so what are you going to do? It didn't work. Did you know if it worked? No, it didn't work. How soon did you find out? Well, we didn't really judge it in a good time to know if it worked or it didn't work. And so let's say you did judge it, and you know that within 2 weeks it's not working. Why would you continue to do the same thing over and over and over? That's insanity, right? So the idea is that you would know what it is that you're going to measure, how you're going to do it in a timely fashion, what's your benchmark, and what are you going to do if it just isn't working. So goals: generally to enter into a market successfully. Objective: to have 15% market share within a specific time. Strategy: media, social media. Tactic: competition, and daily posts of before and after pics. Then we're going to measure it with our 5 points of what, how, when, benchmark, and alternative. I hope you found this useful.